So in this video, we're going to briefly review some facts about function notation and functions themselves. So the first thing is, if I have a list of points, there are several things that a list of points can tell me. Within a list of points, the domain is going to be every x value. So 1, 2, 1, -1. Typically, we want to write these from least to greatest. And we don't need to write repeating numbers. For the range, those are our y values. So 5, 6, 7, 5. Again, we want to write them smallest to largest, and I don't need to write repeated numbers. Now, to know if this is a function we talked about in class, we can plot each and every point. So if I have 1, 5 here, 2, 6, 1, 7, and right there at 1, 7, I have 2 points above each other so that when I connect the vertical line test, it will hit those points 2 times. So this is not a function. If you are looking in the point list itself, you can just look at the values. That each x value has only one y value that goes with it. So I have 1, 5 and 1, 7, meaning there are 2 different values that belong to y. Because there are 2 different values, it's not a function. So like we talked about, if you're a visual learner, you can plot those points out. And if you're good with looking at the points and making sure there's not more than one y value for each x value, then you're good to do that as well. Now, the next thing we saw was function notation. So in function notation, I'm given an equation, and they always use this f of x or g, but there's always a set of parentheses. And so what the parentheses indicate is the parentheses are what the variable is. So if I write f of 1, this tells me to replace my variable with 1. And when we replace, we always do it in parentheses. So I get 1 squared is 1 plus 6. So my answer is an actual number. Now I can also say find f of, let's say, a. And again, it's a replacement. That means to take a and replace my x value with a. So it just becomes a squared plus 6. And like we talked about in our live class, it's okay to have an equation for an answer. When we have this type of function notation, we're going to get equations for our answers, and that's perfectly fine. So that is your final answer. So what we need to take away from this is when we have something in parentheses, it is a replacement for what the variable is doing. And when we replace, you typically want to use parentheses.